Yeah,
So
Shashi, I'm thinking we can extend another 5 minutes around more because we exceeded, so that should be fine, I think. So
yeah,
we
sure.
can take extra. Yeah.
So now we have Venkat, who is a C Sharp Corner MVP and a Microsoft certified trainer, and he has more than 12 plus years of experience in Dynamics and related technologies. So he will be speaking on Event Hub integration. So over to you, Venkat.
Yeah, thank you, Shashi. Uh, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, let me share my screen. So yeah, I don't have that much stuff in the slides. So just we can wrap it up in an less time. So hope you can see my screen clearly, right?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So already there is an interview. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Venkat Subbarapol Setti. I am a C Sharp Corner MVP and MCT. And today I'm going to tell you about Event Hub integrations with Dynamics CRM and Power Automate. So giving an uh, before directly going to the topic, just I keep a pause here. If you would like to connect with me in any of the channels, you can uh, connect with me. Okay, so let us see why these particular integrations is about. So there was, as of now, in the Power Platform, it is growing in a very much rapid pace. And also, if you go for the things like the low code, no code, and the citizen developer contributions are also being helped during the recent times. So especially Power Platform gave the wings to the, especially for the low code, no code, and citizen developer. Anybody ask me, okay, what is this Power Platform? What is this low code, no code, and what is this um, citizen development means? See, before introduction to the Power Platform, so in order to perform certain minimal operations as well, like the customizations and all, the business users like the product owners or the product managers or the business analyst or the functional consultants, direct the customer he himself, they have to rely on the developers to do the changes so as to get that particular changes reflect over the production. So there was a particular there is more dependency on the developers. So that is the one of the reason where they have a bit of uh, not that much eagerness to go to the development team, and that means the wait time is more during the critical situations, right? There could be the development teams could not be available, or there could be a downtime, or there are certain unforeseen reasons, or there should be some kind of updates that needs to be done during that reason. During that particular scenarios, these particular low code, no code, and citizen developer movement has came, and Power Platform gave an good wings to them, where they can, without writing a single line of code, just by doing the configurations on the Power Platform and the Azure all related stuff, the actual business problem of an customer can be easily met it. And outside of the coin, the second side of the coin, developers don't think that, okay, if everything is done by the low code, no code, and the citizen developer, what are we? So yes, so there is always a room for the developers to do it. Example, for the, now we have the PCF controls which are present there with all the PCF framework and the PowerFX functions. All these things are present where you need at least an programming knowledge, whether it could be a C sharp or any other program knowledge, where so it is an just an hand. hand-to-hand coordination between the users, could be the business users and also the developer. So that's why I went for this particular Event Hub integrations, where I'm going to go about the first the scenario of the low code, no code. So before going, so just I will go to the direct power integration. So right. So just I am going to update. So here my business scenario is I have see why I'm going for the Event Hub integrations mainly is see a simple application can be web application can be easily built out, but during the long period of time for the scalability and what we have to do, right, as we are having already the all the cloud is present as in software as a service, so it is easy to develop an application within low time, but in order to maintain that particular application over long period of time, that the scalability should be present, the maintenance should be present, the system should be in a position to handle millions of transactions per second. So in order to do all these things in Azure, we do have a beautiful component called the Event Hubs. So that is where this Event Hubs documentation is about. So the first thing, whatever any Microsoft consultant or any person will say, Event Hub. So Microsoft documentation is the first place that you can refer, and during the number of course of days, this particular documentation keep on refinement, and we do have the beautiful code are also being given, and also the details are also being given. So in this my scenario, what I am going to tell you, right? So I'm going to integrate. So normally we do have an integrations with the number of external systems. So generally, the if you go for any mobile apps and all, right. So normally we do have shopping carts, and during the festival times or festival peak times or any offer days, we will do have a number of transactions that comes from the mobile. So during that particular time, in order to serve each and every transaction, what we are going to do, right? We have to go into a solution where enterprise level architecture should be present to handle that one. So due to that reason, where I am going to give about it. So from the dynamics, so again, my particular demo, we have the three parts of it. One is the dynamic CRM, second part is the Power Automate or the Power Apps, and the third is the Azure related integrations. So number of people came up during the discussions, like, okay, I'm a developer, I'm a CRM developer, I'm a novice for the Power Apps or Power Platform development, I am a novice to the Azure integrations and all. Don't feel anything, everything. So just you can say all these particular three particular components, or you can say the three parts are tightly given hands to each other and supporting. So that's why if you, before after completion of my demo, the developers can feel that, okay, yes, I can do it, whatever I know, just I need to extend. And for the people who don't know about the coding and all, yes, I can also do and make an extensible or a good applications where just by using the platform and all. So here I do have one particular contact where I'm going to just update it. Just I have updated. Yes. So now if you go for the latest runs, so what it will be going to do, right? Just I am going to first show you the runs that are present here. So then after doing that one, I'm going to just explain what are the things that I have done for doing the direct Power Automate Event Hub integration by using a low code, no code way. So in between, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the chat window. At suitable time, I will take a look at them. So as these are all the trial and instances, it will take some time to load, especially these flows and all, because everything is been tightly coupled. Okay, meanwhile, while it is loaded, does anyone have any questions? So Golak or Golaknath or Shashi, if you have any questions, then you can call out.
No, as of now, we don't have any questions yet.
Okay, sure. Okay. So by the time it gets loaded, right, just let me give you what is the thing that has been done. So generally, in any particular, for the people who are new to this Power Platform, so just you can log into, if you spin any trial environment and all, just you can, after provision of any particular environment, just you can go to the flows and open it. You can use this particular make.powerapps.com and do this one. So in Power Platform, we do have certain triggers and actions that are present. So here, if you see any particular this particular symbol, this is nothing but an data verse. So what I have done, right? So it expects what kind of change, that is the what kind of operations. So what is the operation that I have done here, just as an update. So just we do have the different change types are there, add or modified. Modified means the update. So just I have clicked add or modified only, and on the table name, what is the table name here? The table name, don't get confused, like I know entities, what is this table name? So recent, during the recent times, entity has been called out as a table in Dynamics or the Dataverse or Power Platform. So table name is the context, and just the scope is an organization. So as I have the business unit, organization, parent, child, and user, but I kept it as an organization. Ideally, this Power particular automate will be run on the context of an Azure AD user, where he will be added as an user. Okay, so just I have confined myself, not explained to that one, but just as an business explanation, just I have given. So whenever any particular action that happens, right, then this particular flow gets triggered. So if you observe, right, for any programming language, try-catch is very much important. So I will give you in the next demo, I will give the certain text of what is there about. So try and catch, these are nothing but the scope components which are present, scope or different components which are present in the Power Platform or the Power Automate, where we are going to use. And also here I am going to use an compose operation. So generally, this is the main thing that we have to consider here. So in order to have a contribution, or in order to have a collaboration between the two systems, whether it is an apps teams means the mobile apps team, and the integration or the backend or the Dynamics team, see, everything relies on a contract. Contract is nothing but an agreement between the two parties saying that, okay, just provide me the data in this particular format and I will consume it. In the same way, give you, I give me this data in this way, I will consume it. In the same way, you can expose that one. So we use the REST principles, where the JSON application, or JSON format is one of the common format which will be used, just like an XML, which is an uniform format, where this is an agreement that was given. So these are all specific, like the domain or user operation. Here I'm using the update functionality for it, and just operation modification and all the I'm doing. Just I'm timestamp this is doing. So compose is nothing but in one particular object that is present in the Power Platform we are going to use, and this timestamp is nothing but an expression. Where if you observe here, just string of UTC, just in order to give, and the body, I'm going to use in object called user info, which is nothing but a JSON, where it expects the contact ID and the first name and the last name. So just I'm taking this contact first name and the last name, and then I'm going to send it to my event hub. So event hub, this is having what is the outputs that I am giving, just that is having it. So if you observe here, so just so if you observe here, what is the thing that I have given? It is Parker under space Mark is the last name I have given. So the output that is from here, from the when a row is modified or deleted, it see this 4 contact, the scope is 4, which is nothing but the organization. So which it will take all these particular body items which are predefined. So these are the things that I am giving it out. Because of the out of box feature, I could see all this output things. But here I'm specified, I'm only concentrated on only these 3 fields. And then these particular fields will go and sit into the event hub. And from that particular event hub, whether it could be an inbound or an outbound, the application team will simply use that one. So this is how any particular event hubs that is going to him. So don't believe me that you can ask me a question, Venkat. Okay, you said it, event hub, whether really it is an event hub has been logged like that. So from for there, just let me go to this particular. So right. So let me give you an introduction to the resource group or the Azure. So in order to log into any particular Azure website, then you have to use the portal.azure.com. So the entry point for any CRM solution, we do have a solution which is a starting point for any customizations. In the same way, in Azure, we do have a resource group for this particular resource group. So just I have took an particular resource group, and in this particular resource group, just I have in this way you can create a resource where I have selected event hub. Event hubs are there, just you can select that particular event hub, and just you can click on create, where you can provide all these particular. So this is my subscription and this is my resource group. So in order to work on that particular any event hub, you need an active subscription, and resource group already you can give it. So resource group is nothing but a container where all your Azure components will come and sit here. So obviously you can provide any namespace. So namespace is it should be unique in nature, where you can give it, and the location and the review and create all these things you can do it. So just you can provide it, and then so just as I have not provided the basic information, that's why it could giving. So for the benefit of time, just I will show you this is the event hub space. So in order to create any event hub, first we need to create an event hub's namespace. So just in that event hub namespace, just I have created an event hub's namespace. After that one, just I have to go to this event hubs and click on event hub. This is the first way of creating an event hub, or the second way is you can just click on this particular event hub and then create. So again, there is another point that here you can mention here. So here we have to specify an event hub and also the partition count and the message retention. So just keep it mind here. Message retention means here this is this takes place in the form of days. If example, if I give my here the number as 1, that means in the event hub will keeps all the tracking of all the data or the operations that are happened, or any triggers or the messages for 1 day. After 1 day, it flashes all that messages. In the same way, we can also specify the partition count, where if I have really made an enterprise level application where there what I have to do, right? Everything should be asynchronous happen, and everything should be happen in a parallel way. During that time I have to take care of this particular partition count as well. But don't get frustrated by okay, I'm a developer, I don't know all this partition count and all. We do have the DevOps team where they are very much familiar with the Azure related components as well as the other DevOps components where they can help you. But as a developer or as a person who was working on the Dynamics or the Power Platform, we have to know, okay, in Azure we have a portal, and for in a portal we have to create a resource group, and in that resource group, to work on an event hub, we have to create an event hub namespace, and inside that event hub namespace we have to create an event hub. So this is the things that is a single time activity. If you observe, right, so by the time so just within an hour, don't trust me. So within a 1 hour, these are the things that has been clear. So this is the one particular message, and the server access a successful request. These are the successful requests which are present within this particular time. If you observe, right, 11:47 a.m. and 11:42 a.m. and this 11:38 a.m. So this keeps on doing. If you wanted to, we have the beautiful way of filtering the successful request and incoming request and the throttled request. You can ask me a question. Okay, Venkat, we know about the Dev Azure environment. Now, what is the need for us to know about it? Yes. So why I'm telling you all these things, right? So if again, let us go back to here. So for any particular for any particular event hub, I have to provide here the connections. I have to provide it. Okay. So here, if you observe, right, I do have the connection name and this particular API ID, all these things. So simple for any in Power Automate or in Power Platform, if you are working on the different connectors or different outside components, we need a connection. Simple. Okay. See, as a basic example, in order to log in into the dynamic CRM, what we have to do, we need the credentials of it. In the same way, in order to connect that particular environment through any CRM code or any console app or a Windows app or through the plugin registration tool, what we need to know about the connection string. That is, what is the URL name, what are the credentials, all these things. In the same way, for an event hub also, it will ask you. So just I will show you here. So new step here, we have to select an event hub. If you select an event hub, just we have to select this send event hub. So if you observe right here, as already I have created an event hub, then I got it. In case if you don't get it right, here we have to provide an connection string. So that particular connection string, where you will get it here. So in this share, open this particular shared access policies. Sorry, go to the properties and then provide this particular namespace. Resource ID information is there. Just copy this one and keep it and somewhere at the notepad, and then give it while at the time of creation of this particular event hub. So I will keep a pause here before going to the next scenario, which is the customizations, how we are going to do about it. So this is how a low code, no code, or any citizen developer can easily perform integrations between the different components. As an example, I took an event hub. In the same way, you can also take other integrations like the SharePoint or the other things like the WhatsApp integration, LinkedIn, Omni-channel integrations are also present. All this Sendboard is also present like this. A number of things are there, and there are 300 plus connectors that are present. Connectors, that means just you can sit back and relax, or just you simply use it. Just you should know for which particular kind of scenario which connector I have to use. Don't think too much about what is there inside it. It is immaterial to know about the things. Just you can use it. But yes, it is material when if you wanted to perform something that is not present inside that particular connector if you wanted to again do any kind of customizations. So Shashi, are there any questions? So I will keep a pause here for 1 minute. If anybody have any questions, they can feel free to ask me.
Yeah, so there are no, there is one question. Is premium license required for database component in Power Automate, or is it available for
No,
Visual Studio subscription?
no. So for Power Automate and all, right. So if you observe, this is my trial org. So there is by default there is no need for you to get an premium connectors or the premium license that is required. But for yes, for Azure components and all, you should have an license.
So any other questions, if anyone is having, can unmute and ask Venkat.
Venkat, actually, I have one query. Let's say Event Hub, right? When exactly it will start throttling? Because there should be some limitation, right? The pass rate or something, the limitations.
Right. So for the Event Hub limitations, see generally if you go for the normal ones, so for enterprise, for going to the limitations and all, right, you can see here uh, if you example. So somebody asked about all these ones, right? So for the Event Hubs, so generally you will not get any particular limitation where uh, it keeps on gives particular ingester. So the limitations will be 1 minute. So, so it needs in order to perform any particular Event Hub integrations, first you have to know how to correctly use it, and also you should know about these thread link points. So, so here it is present, right? So basically based upon that particular one and the process data, these tasks are there, and this process data and the consumer groups, based upon these properties we have to take certain related details that we have to do it, and related to mostly for enterprise applications. See, Event Hubs can handle millions of records per second. So there are minimum limitations that are present. First thing is it is a bit kind of uh, you need some kind of technical skills in order to maintain this particular Event Hub at enterprise level. So that is one kind of limitation. So for the other again other limitations, I could provide you the link with the details.
Venkat, there is one more question from Power Guy. Any practical example where you need a component like Event Hub?
Okay, right. So the practical exam, right, for any enterprise level applications where you expect the data to come within a second, millions of records and all, right. In order to save them, in order to handle them appropriately, then we will go for this particular Event Hub. And also there are other alternatives are also present. So but Event Hub is one of the component that can be used generally for going for any operations like the inbound and outbound. We use the service bus, and in the same way for the extensive huge number of data that we are expecting, then we can go for any Event Hub. And also as I mentioned already, so the Event Hub, when to go for these Event Hubs, right, for application lagging, for live dashboarding, archiving data and transaction processing, and device telemetry streaming and telemetry processing, we will go for this particular Event Hubs. You can ask me a question. We can do it. Yes, you can do it, but why should we reinvent the wheel if already these are all the things that are present? And also, as I said, for doing any big data streaming platform and for event ingestion service, we will go for these particular Azure events. And also to get the real-time analytics for the batching and storage adapter, we can go for it. And also, as we are using Event Hubs, all your transactions, it could be the financial or any the NEPA related things that are safely safeguarded by this particular Azure Event Hubs, where there is no way of for you to get all these particular spillover around. So these are the full managed space, and these are scalable and also rich ecosystems are present, and Event Hubs are premium and the dedicated. And also you can see a single tenant can offer about 99.99% of the details. So this is about. And also if you observe the pricing when compared with the service bus and all, right? So the Event Hubs for applying it in so yes, I got another question. Azure Service Bus, you can use it for less number of transactions, but if you are expecting the more number like lakhs and millions of records per second, then we can go for this Azure, this Event Hub. I hope I have answered your question. So,
hi Venkat, this is Ramakant here.
yep.
I have a general question, for integration with Dynamics with Azure, any platform we use Azure services. So I just want to know, because we can do it a different way, right? Azure service was Event Hubs. Okay. So my question is that what are the things I need to consider before selecting the correct service? What are the
Correct.
things I need to consider?
Correct. So yes, so at the time of the solutioning perspective, an architect would be the correct person who will be guiding it. So just these are all the initial questions that will be asked to the customer. Okay, how much data that we are getting? What are all the integration systems that are expecting? Are there any external systems that are present, or just we are using it? Are there any on-premise systems are present? Are there any legacy systems are present? So during that particular, how many transactions that they are expecting? If there are less number of transactions, then I can go for the service bus. If there are more number of transactions, that I can go for the enterprise level like the logic apps or the service or the event hub. So you can go for the logic apps and also the Azure functions also based upon your volume of the data and the different. And as I said before, it varies between the customer and customer. So while doing an architecture based upon all these points along with the other some other points also, there will be a decision that will be taken by the architects and also the business owners. And also there are other factors also present. What is the budget is there, and what is the frequency, and how much time that is taken, that is needed for do it. I hope I have answered your question. So we do have the less time. Let me go for the next scenario. Yes, Golaknath, do you have any question?
Yeah, actually, I have one real life scenario, so that's why I'm just thinking the event hub, right? So I'm just thinking in this way: enterprise service bus, which Azure has, the Azure service bus. Okay, so in that scenario, let's say you are saying, well, the event hub will give very better throughput. But the thing is that I'm thinking in current scenario, the thing is that from ASB we are passing data through Power Automate. Okay, even though yes, event hub can give better throughput, but Power Automate has limitations. So how exactly it will manage, let's say, source system to destination system? Let's say my event hub has better capability, but Power Automate has limitations. So definitely Power Automate cannot be the right factor, right, to address along with event hub.
No. So even though there are limitations, right? So if you observe the applications, there are number of Power Automate and Power Automate can support the different things that are present. So if you wanted to get rid out of this particular limitation, then we do have the alternative of going for the logic apps. From that logic apps, we can use this particular event hubs. But if the volume is less and where within less time I have to build the solution, and these things needs to be available for the users, then we can go for the Power Automate and also all these flows. And also, as I said before, Microsoft has striving its by coming up with the different kind of enhancements in every 15 days or 2 weeks or 1 week like that. So yes,
Okay.
these are the things that
Perfect.
can be
Yeah,
done.
thanks. I don't want to take much time. You can go.
Okay. So let me go to the next scenario, that is the CRM customizations. So so now the low code, no code, and the citizen developer way of doing it, I have done it. Now the second way is for the developers. There are certain scenarios where you should leverage the use of the Dynamics CRM customizations. So in Dynamics CRM, if you wanted to perform or you need to get the full control, maximum control of the application, any developer or any person who knows about the CRM will go for the server side code, where the server side we will generally go for the plugins. So CRM plugins, where we do have the multiple messages that are present, where you can perform a number of operations that are present. So let me go through this the second example. So here what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to use one particular flow where I am going to use for the second scenario explanation, I'm going to use an HTTP trigger. So HTTP trigger is one of the trigger that is available, just like at the Dataverse, whenever any user is getting executed. So these are that Event Hub integrations, and here, so when any HTTP request is received, so here what my intention is, so if you observe in the last scenario, we got all the inside that particular one. So I have not passed any specific things and all, but here in my scenario, I wanted to specifically pass this contact ID and the first name and the last name. Here, what I have to do here, I have to create an JSON, but it will do it here, and then I have to provide the contact ID, and then I have to provide the first name, then I have to provide the last name. So here I will provide as a string. So based upon that particular thing, just you can easily do that one. So before going to this one, so let me test this one automatically, or else okay, let me test this manually. So again, I'm going to this here. I'm going to save this one. Just observe here. My flow ran successfully. So if you observe here, just observe here in the Event Hub, what are the things that I have paused. So the contact ID, first name, and the last name, which is nothing but the Parker Mark G is the thing. So how I have done this one, right? I said before, there are three parts for it. The first part is with respect to the dynamic CRM, where I have created one particular plugin, and as I mentioned here, if you take any HTTP trigger, you will get this URL for this one. So you will get the URL here. You save it here. So if I save anything, HTTP post URL, I will get it. Simply just I have used this one, and Golaknath, can you see my screen with the CRM, with the Visual Studio screen?
Yeah, I can see Visual Studio. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. So just this is a typical scenario where, and also just for doing this particular demo purpose, I have hard coded this one. There is a better way of handling this one by going for all the customization thing as this particular query string, this particular URL, which is of a variable type, and which is not at all recommendable to do it, where we can use an app.config or a web.config to read this one. So just we have to do here the thing that we have to consider here. Just I have used an CRM plugin. So for any particular plugin base, we have to use it where it will have all these high notifications and all, where most of the people aware of it, the development folks, and also it will have an interface where we have to execute this CRM plugin. It expects an plugin context where just my intention was, if you observe here in the notepad, I need the contact ID, first name and the last name. So just I'm doing this. So in this way we can read that details. In case if they are not present, I also took an post image where I can read all this first name and the last name. So the intention here was I have to frame these three particular parameters, contact ID, first name and last name, so as to send them to it. So my data looks like this. So for web request, I have to frame it, and this is the web request, what is the URI, and then I have to provide then method, the content type, and then the data content. I have given all these things, and just I have provided a stream where I will read all the data within the byte format, and then to the response, what I'm going to do, just I'm taking a response of the HTTP web response, and then I'm writing any result. So the local context, just I'm trying to just log it. So once I build this particular plugin and all, so as people already know, I'm going to use a plugin registration tool. In this particular plugin registration tool, this is an CRM plugin that I have used. And also make sure while you are running or building this particular assembly, make sure to sign that particular assembly. If you don't sign it, then you will not get it as a plugin. So in this particular plugin, just as an update of the contact, what I have done, as I mentioned in this update of the contact, I have provided an image, the post image, where I specifically mentioned only these three parameters. And this is one of the performance related things, like a tip here. We should not consider all the parameters. We should consider the parameters only what at all that are required. And also just I have created, I took it as an post image. Post means after the operation has completed, then only consider all these things. So if I wanted to enable the telemetry, I can enable the telemetry. And if I can, if I wanted, in case if any errors comes, I can install the profiler and then do all these changes. So this way, once I register here, this particular plugin, my CRM plugin is ready. This is the first part. And coming to the second part, so let us go back to here. So see, whenever we are working on a Power Automate, right, the steps are critical, and for every particular steps, we have to give that step name in a meaningful way, as the comments or direct comments like in C# code, that is not possible like this. If I wanted to write here, then we cannot write it here in the automate flow. Then how can you do it, right? Generally, you can provide this particular one, and also as you can also provide a short note here, why is it happening and all. If you don't want it to give a short name for that as a note, then okay, but give this particular step name as a meaningful way. And also I mentioned, right, the scope. So this try scope, what is my intention was, try, that is prepare an object and send it to the Azure Event Hub. So this is how I am going to give it. And then in the compose also, make sure that you can provide it correctly. That is prepare contract as per the defined structure. And I am telling you one more time, contract is the main critical thing which you should agree, because if you from the Dynamics CRM or Power Platform or the Dynamics team perspective, if you keep on going defining this particular thing, right, okay, it will work for you. But for the other system to work, right, they also should understand this particular contract. That then what is the thing, right? just you should have a mutual understanding and come to an agreement and keep a boundary saying that okay, we will pass this like this and all. And after that one, in the send event, if you observe right, say the content, which is nothing but for any compose one, the input is this one and the output is other one, and the content I am going to just take it as an output. And as I mentioned, one of the important thing in any programming, the try catch, maintaining the catch is very much critical. So most of the people, what they will ignore it. But in Power Automate also, we have to consider utilization of that particular try catch mechanism. So for that, if you go and directly verify for any trigger or any action like try or catch, you will not get it. You will get an object called the trigger called the scope. You can use that particular scope. So there, just you can use it. And also the catch operation, what you can do, right? There are certain settings are there where you can do it, and also you must and should do this one. So during successful time, I don't want this particular catch to be called. When it should be called was in case if my operation has failed, in case if my operation was skipped, in case my operation has timed out. So what I am doing it. So just I am seeing it. So contact ID has an issue. There's simply the contact ID. Just I am taking it. So by taking this one, so just by directly going into the event hub and I can see it. See there again we have this application can be extended more, where error messages also can be enabled to the event hub by specifically creating a specific event hub for logging errors by using the telemetry and also the error logging. So this is how we are going to do that one. And so if I am going to do is one, right, when an HTTP request is there, so just I wanted to tell you, I wanted to show you, if I wanted to go for try, you will not get anything. But I said already, if you perform any scope, you should look for the scope as a control, then only you will get that particular where in here I can inside this particular scope, that is inside that particular try, I can add any particular actions. So for compose, I will use the compose operation. In this particular compose operation, there are multiple things are there where simply I have used the data operation, but there are other things where you can also use the HTML table, CSV table, parse, join and filter array, all these things you can also use this one. And also as in step, I can again take in a scope here, and in this particular scope, this one I can as an catch, and here I can do a configuration saying that if it is failed, then only do this one. So this is one of the recommended and good approach that I can go it. You can ask me, you can get a question, is does really catch have an event hub? Yes, it will have an event hub. So simply you can have an event hub and see it. Okay. So with that, I have completed my second scenario. So just so now after completion of this particular second scenario, so the developers can also think that so you are also needed and your work is not going anywhere, and whatever the thing that any developer is doing, that rests with you only. So with this I can I have completed my two set of scenarios, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I will stop sharing my screen.
Venkata, I have a small doubt in the second scenario. See, how we will handle everything in a synchronous manner. See, right now, plugin is involved. Again, it flows on top of that one events. So if asynchronous, okay, no issue. How we will handle in a synchronous manner? Suppose if I do some action, we are triggering the plugin as a synchronous mode.
Right. So synchronous plugin, we cannot for small applications or the small number of transaction, we can go for the synchronous. Otherwise, we can go for the asynchronous plugin. Just as a demo for refining it as it is, I don't have the number of transactions that are present for the throughput as I'm doing it the operations from the Dynamics CRM perspective. This is an application where from Dynamics CRM, and if any operation that happens, this is the way I can push that data into that event hub, and from that particular event hub, the other applications, they can read that particular data.
Why I asked is to make that whenever we are doing integrations, if anything failed, it should be all the systems should be consistent.
Correct.
For that purpose, yeah.
Right. Yes, that's why I said to you. So we should go for an asynchronous plugin implementation where based upon the details about.
No, but in this case, it will fail, right? Suppose CRM, one data is getting updated. Assume that event hub failed to update in that other third-party application.
Okay.
So how we will track?
Yeah. So here in that case, in case I say I shared you right already in this particular Power Automate, in case if it gets failed, okay. So again, we can write a particular logic in this particular scope inside this. So if it gets failed or timed out, right, we can suggest to trigger it one more time. So during that particular time, you can see it you can see that particular operation failed in that particular event hub. But again, it will time out. We can use a timer control for that particular one, and or else you can also loop, and that means for a single atomic transaction, if you find an failure, then you can directly again re-trigger that one. It is again a complex scenario where you can you need to handle it in this particular Power Automate. I hope you got my answer.
Yeah, in extension that one, is there any mechanism to communicate back to plugin? See, now plugin firing and it is triggering the flow. Flow is having a HTTP request. Automatically, it is triggering the event hub. Is there any mechanism where flow can talk to plugin? Or means suppose like response or something.
Right. Correct. So in that way, right, we have a concept called we do have the different actions called are there bound and unbound actions are there where you can see this is in one way from plugin to the CRM, and from the CRM I am taking this one. So if you wanted directly, so from the plugin you need a bi-directional way, then you can go for the bound and unbound action where if you perform any unbound related action, then the information will get passed to it. But I don't suggest to go for this particular one, because already if there are any particular errors are there, you have an event hub that is present. So any event hub, if any failure, then directly you will get the information and come and sit there. Okay, so the part here, whenever I'm performing any operation inside the CRM application, if any error comes, that is, if any issue is happening inside a plugin, then I come to know. After that one, inside a flow, during certain reasons, if it gets timeout, if there are any issue and all, that is not an issue with the plugin. Again, I have to go. So based upon this one, I can use any other action to call a child plugin or any particular action so as to perform it, trigger it.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thanks.
So, Venkat, we have one more question from Power Guy that in second scenario, I think we just removed the Dataverse connector as a trigger, right? Is it a way to save cost of Dataverse connector?
Right. So data, see, as I said, right, just this is a simple scenario of the plugin just I have showed. There are certain things where okay, in Dataverse connector, if I see, look at for an operation called the delete operation. If I do an delete operation in Dataverse connector, if I wanted to know what is the input or for that particular deleted ID, if I need any other related records and all, I will not get the leverage to do it. So it is nothing but to save cost regarding the Dataverse connector and all, but it depends upon the kind of scenario that you are using. So in one of the implementations, we have faced it. So initially we used just the Dataverse connector that is present for create, update, and all the operations. But while doing the delete operation, what we are getting, we are getting a simple ID only I am getting. But if I wanted to get all the details and all, that record itself was deleted, then with the ID, what is the thing that I can do it? So during that scenarios, we have simply used a plugin where we have saved all those details and passed it as in parameters. So even though the record got deleted, we have the values that are present as in parameters.
Okay, so with that, I think we can close. We are out of time now.
Okay.
And if anyone is having any questions, they can just connect with Venkat on LinkedIn. The links are in the chat window. So with that, I would like to thank Venkat and everyone who joined us and made this meetup a success. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Shashi and Golaknath, for providing this opportunity, and thank you all of you for your time. But even though it is a weekend, you took some time to